The 30th of July 2023. Liars, liars, cars on fire. Uh, this, my video here says they will kill you or somebody belonging to you. And that's a prediction of mine. Now, it was originally stated that there was 25 electric cars on board the Fremantle Highway, which left from the German port of Bremen bound for Singapore via the Suez Canal. It's now been admitted that there were 485 electric cars out of a total of 2,850. And as that ordinary assessment would dictate that the latter is the truth. In a world with so much hysteria and promotion of electric cars and going out to all these very swanky people, you would imagine there would be more than what they were stating. So it works out roughly at 1/7 of the total cargo. But they didn't admit it straight away. Why? Because when this happened, the whole Western governments, the Irish Green Party, Minister Eamon Ryan, and all of these, they go ballistic. And they will lie and lie and lie and lie. Now, the fact of the matter is, you see, Truth Please, who quotes under my video and writes under my videos. I don't mind people writing. Oh, and others too now, it will have to be said, on other YouTube channels. Oh, you weren't there and you know what started the fire. This is what you get. Well, the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter where the fire started. What really does matter is how it finished up. Now, there's a problem with moving internal combustion engine cars like diesel cars and that, because if you disconnect the battery, you lose the radio codes. And unless you have your radio codes, you can't reconnect. And if you're a regular traveller to somewhere like Britain and France, or maybe Ireland and Britain, you might not want to disconnect your battery. By right, you need to put a small 12-volt battery on it all the time, and that kind of defeats the purpose on the circuit. So that's happened to me. Always happens when I take a battery out of a car, I lose the codes and I end up with no radio. So that's a bit of a problem. Now, it must be remembered, ordinary cars have only new cars have only maybe 2 or 3 litres in their tank, and it's sealed in the tank. The electric car batteries for all of these works out roughly at about 200, maybe 220 tons of lithium ion in their batteries, 200 tons. Whereas the fuel and diesel and petrol in the ordinary cars would not be much at all. You're talking about well, at best about 2 tons of fuel, whereas there's 200 tons of fuel in the batteries of EVs. They don't fill up new cars; they just put a few litres in them. But there was a ship went on fire carrying cars out in New Jersey, and there was 2 firemen killed, I think it was. But they were old cars. They were cars being removed from the American market, going out somewhere to Africa or somewhere like that for the used car market. Now, the thing about it is that this green thing is a religion, which I am very much opposed to. I claim if you study electric cars and everything about them, they're a laughing stock. No sane person that could count would ever bother with such a stupid idea. They run on coal, they're very hard to mine, and they're shifting the balance of power in the world in favour of China, which is now the second biggest bad boy in the pack according to the West. But the thing about it is this ferry caused sailors to jump overboard, obviously because the deck got so hot from the high intensity flames. These can go up to 1,000 degrees centigrade, very, very hot. They have their own fuel source. It's very, very important to understand that. You can't burn petrol or diesel or fuel without oxygen. But these things have their own oxygen supply in the same way that gunpowder has its own oxygen supply. The oxygen is 3/4 of the fuel in gunpowder that drives the missile out of the barrel in an environment where there is no air oxygen. Okay, so in this case they have their own oxidizer. So spraying water on it is futile. If they even fell into the sea on fire and they went down in the sea, they'd still be burning underneath the sea. They don't need oxygen from the air or any other source. Now, the thing about it is, my point has been raised again. What about ferries? What about the St. Killian and all these ones that ply between Britain and Ireland, from Larne to Stranraer, and from Dunleary over to Holyhead, and from Rosslare to France, and from Folkestone in Kent over to Calais and all that? What about those ferries? What actually are those ferries? They're a car transporter in the first instance. Roll on, roll off. Car transporters. They just go in like that, and the car rolls in this way, and then when they come back the other side, the car goes out the other end. Quite simple. Roll on, roll off, or whatever they are. They have a lot of lorries. I travelled on them several times, usually in lorries with lorries and all that. But the thing about it is, they are also an hotel, because you have the first deck like this, and you have the second deck like this, and this top part is an hotel. If you look at the Fremantle Highway and the Felicity Ace, which sank last year, there's very little windows. They don't need to put windows, they just put steel or plastic up along the top. There's no one looking out or no view, even though most of those ferries you can see out a bit over the top. You can see a little bit, but only upwards. Now, in the case of a ferry, it's the same. Underneath, you don't see out. If you go down to the car deck, which I often did, and you can go down into it, there'll be cameras there and all, but you won't see out into the sea. There might be a little port here and there. Once you go up on the deck, the passenger deck, you can look out and see everything. So if a fire starts, it's going to heat the deck. It's going to heat. That's a hotel. There's sleeping accommodation. I have slept on them. There is eating accommodation, there are bars, there are things for kids to do, and there are several other things. There is social place, or place to spend the time and while you're travelling. That's as simple as that. Now, it seems to me common sense, and I'll invite any comment underneath, and I ask Truth Please here to say the same. The fact is, fires have happened. 2 of these ships have been damaged. In the case of the Fremantle Highway off the coast of Holland, the situation is that today the high winds are preventing it being towed. The high winds are coming across from Europe towards Holland. Here in Ireland, they're coming from the southwest, but I understand in Holland they're coming more or less out, blowing the ship out the way. For now, that could change. Now they have two ropes on it, 2 chains, but they can't pull it because the smoke from the ship, the smoke that's still coming out of the ship, is blowing straight in the direction of the port they want to take it to, and that's not fully decided yet, but it'll have to go back into either Germany or Holland. And as the tug pulls the boat along, the smoke from this ship is blowing towards the tug. That's what they'll report. Now, don't quote me too much on the exact direction of the wind, or where they have to bring it. That's for engineers and all that. But that's what it says on Der Spiegel and other media outlets. It's a problem pulling it. It's still burning. Is that the smoke is going towards the tugboat, and therefore it causes health and safety concerns. That's basically what they're saying. We'll see how it pans out. But the point about it is, there is still no alarm, and there is not going to be any alarm between any of European governments, the EU, the Irish government, or anything else. There is going to be no health and safety issues. Where were the lifeboats on the Fremantle Highway? Why were there not lifeboats on it? You'd think that they could have released them down. What is the issue there? I don't see any on it. There are some lifeboats on most ferries going across. How many and how adequate are there? And where are they positioned? And when they go to release these lifeboats, will the flames come out and burn the people alive as they pass down past the car deck? These are issues that I can't deal here, but it's common sense that they're going to wait until deaths occur. They're going to wait until deaths occur. Now, in this country, in Ireland, we have Eamon Ryan, a mad, vicious Green Party energy minister. He refused a licence for an oil exploration down off the coast of Kerry recently. And he has bitter, mad zealot Greens in his party, and they're mostly supported by the remaining political parties. So they're not going to mention this. It will probably not be mentioned in Irish Dáil because they're on recess. It's not going to be mentioned. They're just going to keep quiet and hope it goes away until the death toll counts. Where those deaths will be, they could be in Europe, they could be Irish England, Irish Ireland Scotland, England France, or Ireland France. It could be any of those. We're not quite sure. They're busy routes, and I have travelled on them regularly, and it could be any. If the ferry from Rosslare to Le Havre goes on fire at one third of the way out or half the way out, then what's going to happen? Is there any plans afoot? I mean, these people could panic over closing us down over that old pandemic thing. They could do all of this health and say we're interested in your health. You see, they could do that, closing us down that I couldn't go into my neighbouring county. They've done all of this, and here we have a threat that could kill 200 Irish people or other mixed people on all this, and it doesn't matter. That's because this green electric car racket is bought and paid for by the vultures in the renewable energy industry and all that, but it's also a religion. This is the religion, and the people that they will have die are sacrifices. These are sacrifices, a bit like the saints in the church were made saints because they were executed for their religion, and that type of a mentality is what you have. This is a vicious ideology. They kill. And one of the things that could happen, it's not beyond the bounds of possibility, that people who vote for Ryan in Dublin 4 could see members of their family killed going across on these ferries. Will that change them? Will that stop them falling for this Pied Piper? Will that stop them? Will the deaths of a lot of people stop them? It'll sell newspapers. We know the newspapers love all this because they sell more papers. They sell paper upon paper. They don't sell them to me, but that's what they do. And so here we are, watch the media. I know from people who listen to the Irish radio and television and BBC that there's nothing about it much yet. It's completely hidden and hidden away because they know it could wreck the electric car market, and this is sacred to them. That's the hard fact. They could kill you, they might kill you, and they don't really care whether they do or whether they don't. Isn't that something that our Irish Republic has come to? Isn't that something that a British government led by a Conservative Prime Minister and Cabinet will do that? Isn't that something that the EU, which might actually be the only one that might act, will do that? Isn't that something? Isn't that a great lesson on where we are and what we have and what we have to fight against? Folks, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. We'll see you back soon. Thank you.